So Mike Pence got lectured by a cast member of Hamilton who was alarmed that a Trump administration would not protect the rights of minorities. Where has this bizarre notion that Trump poses a threat to black people, Hispanics, and other minorities come from?
Now, whether or not in a place like Chicago you do stop and frisk, which worked very well, Mayor Giuliani is here, it worked very well in New York, it brought the crime rate way down. But you take the gun away from criminals that shouldn't be having it. We have gangs roaming the street, and in many cases, they're illegally here, illegal immigrants, and they have guns, and they shoot people. And we have to be very strong, and we have to be very vigilant. We have to know what we're doing. Right now, our police, in many cases, are afraid to do anything. We have to protect our inner cities because African-American communities are being decimated by crime.
Your 2 minutes expired, but I do want to follow up. Stop and frisk was ruled unconstitutional in New York because it largely singled out black and Hispanic young men.
No, you're wrong. It went before a judge who was a very against police judge. It was taken away from her, and our new mayor, refused to go forward with the case. They would have won an appeal. If you look at it throughout the country, there are many places where
the argument is that it's a form of racial profiling.
No, the argument is that we have to take the guns away from these people that have them and that are bad people that shouldn't have them. These are felons. These are people that are bad people that shouldn't be. When you have 3,000 shootings in Chicago from January 1st, when you have 4,000 people killed in Chicago by guns from the beginning of the presidency of Barack Obama, his hometown, you have to have stop and frisk.
Quote, an independent study of the city's stop and frisk program found that 87% of the 686,000 stops in 2011, a record high, were of blacks and Latinos. Young black men between the ages of 14 and 24 were stopped 106% of the time, as in there were more stops of young black men than the entire population of young black men. Stop and frisk had a 90% failure rate in 2011, and in the first 3 months of 2013, when the number of stops fell by 51% from the same period last year, the crime rate dropped as well. So there were fewer stop and frisks, and there was less crime. A study by the city's own public advocate found that stops of white people were twice as likely to yield a weapon and a third more likely to yield some form of contraband as compared to stops of black people. On top of that, only 3% of 2.4 million stops resulted in a conviction. So overall, it was a 97% failure rate.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on. We have no choice. We have no choice. The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. Thank you. It's true. And these are the best and the finest. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards, and they tell us what we're getting. And it only makes common sense. It only makes common sense. They're sending us not the right people. It's coming from more than Mexico. It's coming from all over South and Latin America, and it's coming probably from the Middle East. But we don't know, because we have protection, and we have no competence. We don't know what's happening. And it's got to stop. And it's got to stop fast.
Throughout his entire public life, Trump has tried to help the African American community. Jesse Jackson even praised him for it on numerous occasions.
Your rent package for people on Wall Street who represent diversity. And we thank you for coming tonight. Let's give Donald Trump a big hand. In terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And a will to rest to make things better and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
Try hard. Try again.
More blacks, Latinos, and Asian Americans voted for Trump than they did for Mitt Romney. More black people voted for Trump than they did for John McCain or George W. Bush before that. Where has this bizarre notion that Trump poses a threat to black people, Hispanics, and other minorities come from?
It's a mystery. Oh, it's a mystery. I'm still searching for a clue. It's a mystery.
Gay marriage.
I am traditional. I am for traditional, and it's a changing format. But I am very much for traditional marriage.